Hey there, it's day 145 of a screenwriter's journey. And the weird phenomena over the last, I guess, growing over the last several days. In the early days of doing these voiceovers, I would open the file and put it into Premiere, and I would say, oh my gosh, I get to talk for 45 minutes. And now when I open these files, having 6 weeks having elapsed, I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope this isn't a long one. Because just talking for a long time, gets to your voice a little, but more importantly, it just brings to mind what I'm writing, and it's just not great. And I don't know if that's a humble admission or an obvious admission. Or again, maybe you're thinking, wow, this is the best script ever. Why does he keep rewriting it? It seems unlikely, but so it's just weird. It is much like the writing itself. The voiceovers, not always, but frequently kind of tend toward the I'm slogging through this, because that was sort of my state of mind when I was writing this. I wouldn't really say state of mind, but in reflection, it certainly was, because as I've said a couple times in the past few days, really I've had 40 days, more or less 40 writing days of just going over this first act over and over and over and trying to get it to a place where A, I'm happy with it, and B, it's good enough to continue writing. And then in the back of my mind, C, I know that I'm not going to get this to the place where I can just let it go and the rest of the script will just flow as is. I mean, that's common sense and barely worth saying, but it was still a small hope I held out for much longer than I should have. So so this is December 13th. Today is January 29th. So I'm about 6 weeks still. I'm trying to get caught up a little bit more, but man, it's just, of course, I'm still writing. If I would just quit writing, I could catch up, but that would kind of defeat the whole purpose. I'm just trying to remember if I uploaded one last night. I hope I did. I may have to do 2 today if I didn't. Anyways, I've talked enough about the whole discipline and the reason I'm doing this and everything, so I won't bore you. If you don't know about it, just go back and watch the previous 143 episodes of this. Wow, if I was a TV show, just think how popular I would be. I'd be in syndication by now, couldn't I? Because they do about 22 episodes a season, so I'd be on my basically not quite 7th season. Oh, I would be raking in the residuals by now. Oh, where your mind goes during the writing process and the post-writing process. Now, let's get back to the actual script. So this scene between Holly and Lexi is a variation, a derivation, dare I say it, of something that has basically been here for a long time. And so what I'm adding is Lexi's part about you've given up on the whole find a nice guy, get married, have kids, which I realized in the rewriting process someplace that's sort of where I want to get to with Holly, that it hasn't really been spoken of. I don't know that if it's even been implied, or maybe just obvious that A, she's not married, she's in her mid-ish 30s, and Lexi's finding out she's never really had a serious boyfriend, which maybe she would sort of know having spent time around her. But that's really, I mean, it's not, I don't know. I won't go there right now. I'm just thinking of something that I am not going to talk about. So Well, I will talk about this. When Lexi says, "How about just the kids part, the married part, the guy part?" Um, the stupid cat. Sorry, cats are not stupid. They're just not smart. Um, but even how Lexi said that, find a nice guy, get married, have kids. It's not like, have you ever thought of having a kid or, not getting married? And this is a very small allusion with an A to the common sense thing that the best thing to do is find a guy, then get married, then have kids. And if that sounds quaint or old fashioned, it ain't. Research and statistics will prove me right in terms of happy marriage, happy family, all that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to dwell on that. So that's kind of what I'm hinting at a little, and I wanted to put that in because I think it's important. And then Holly basically brushes it off by saying, this is not about me, it's about you. We'll see. So that's sort of what I wanted to get across in that scene. And I guess you could say the agenda of that scene. And then Holly turns it back and starts talking about Lexi, and that's where we get back to the beginning of the scene. And I think that's one thing that maybe you can do, not you, but writers. You can come full circle in a scene. You return to the original topic, but you do so with having gained some insight into one or more of the characters. So they pose a question. It takes them off on a tangent, what seems to be a tangent, and then they come back to what they were originally talking about, and maybe you can appreciate an answer or how they got to back to there, and then the answer to the question, because you have heard what they said in the meantime. So, I mean, one way that could go is Holly could ask Lexi a question, Lexi could answer it, and then whoop, the scene's over. But this way we get a little more juice out of it. Wow, that was a quick day. I spent most of it talking about things other than the script, but that's okay, because that is a screenwriter's journey. See ya.